Space Jam, 1996, starring Michael Jordan, Wayne Knight, Bill Murray, Bugs Bunny, and Daffy Duck. Welcome back to Streetball Strategies basketball movie reviews. Space Jam is set in the Looney Tunes universe. Aliens in outer space have a theme park, and it's terrible, and they decide that the way they're going to make it better is to come to Earth and kidnap the Looney Tunes, take them back to space, to Moron Mountain, their theme park, and have them perform for their patrons to make their theme park better. The aliens come down to Earth, they go to kidnap. I can't believe this is the way I'm describing a basketball movie. The aliens come down to Earth, they go to kidnap the Looney Tunes. The Looney Tunes convince them that the aliens should give the Looney Tunes a chance to defend themselves. And Bugs Bunny sees that the aliens are just tiny little creatures and decides that the best way that the Looney Tunes could defend themselves is to play them in a basketball game, because the Looney Tunes are 3 feet tall and the aliens are like that tall. So they tell this to the aliens then go steal NBA talent from NBA All-Stars. When they come back to the Looney Tunes, now the aliens are 10 feet tall. And Bugs Bunny decides that in order to defend themselves against being kidnapped by the aliens in this basketball game, they are going to need help from Michael Jordan. So then they go and they recruit Michael Jordan to help them. Well, they pretty much kidnap Michael Jordan to force him to help them play and win in this basketball game.
What's going on here?
We need your help!
You know how that goes, the old trope of NBA legends being kidnapped by Looney Tunes. So Space Jam came out in 1996, and I've seen it many times, mostly as a kid during that time period. And it's always kind of lived in my mind as simultaneously brilliant and kind of meh. Because the kind of trap and fault that these kind of movies fall into when you take one hardcore fan base and another hardcore fan base and you kind of merge them together, what usually happens is that neither fan base comes out being satisfied with the outcome of the movie or the film or the TV show or whatever it may be. For instance, Looney Tunes fans, the hardcore Looney Tunes purists, they probably don't get the experience that they are really looking for, because now you're dealing with live action and Michael Jordan and basketball, and Looney Tunes just aren't associated with any kind of stuff like that. So the Looney Tunes hardcore purist fans don't really get what they're looking for, and then us as hardcore basketball Michael Jordan fans, we don't really get what we're looking for from him and the basketball in this movie, because we don't really get what we love about basketball and Michael Jordan from this experience. And so movies like this, when you take two things and kind of put them together, a lot of times there's a chance for them to sort of fall flat, because neither group gets what they want, and then the general public doesn't really take it in as well as the movie makers would like either. But it is a brilliant idea to take universally beloved Looney Tunes and general public loved Michael Jordan and fuse them together. That's a brilliant idea. It's kind of a can't miss idea.
When the world's greatest athlete, Michael Jordan, teams up with the world's best loved cartoon character, Bugs Bunny, you won't believe your eyes.
The only way this movie could be bad something catastrophic would have to go wrong in the making of this movie in order for it to be a bad movie or for it to flop at the box office. Even though I'm not a cartoon guy, I've never really been a cartoon person. As a kid, I was just kind of okay with cartoons and okay with Looney Tunes. Even me being that kind of person, I realized that this movie turned out to be a lot better than it could have been. The quality of the filmmaking and the production of this movie was a lot better than it could have been, because when you just take the idea of Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan, you put them together, that's such a surefire way of making a successful movie. The makers of this movie could have really gotten lazy and just sort of thrown Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan together and just gave us a decent experience and then taken all of our money. But they didn't do that. They went above and beyond for this movie, and I think a reason for that is that Ivan Reitman is the producer of this movie. The production in the movie is really good. The animation's really good. They didn't have a whole lot of animators to work on this movie, and they didn't have a whole lot of time to make it. They went above and beyond, and it shows in this movie. The Looney Tunes in this movie are classic Looney Tunes. They're doing Looney Tunes things exactly the way you would expect Looney Tunes to be presented to you in a movie, in movie form. Though I will say I was pleasantly surprised watching this movie that scattered throughout the movie, the Looney Tunes characters, especially Bugs and Daffy, they do make sort of comic, humorous, adult references throughout the movie. And for me, watching it now as an adult, I really did appreciate that, because, you know, I'm not much of a Looney Tunes guy. But watching this movie as an adult and seeing the Looney Tunes sort of make comedic references that really only adults would like or care about or know about, I did appreciate that. And I got that as a kid, but I didn't really care as a kid. But now watching it as an adult and seeing and hearing those references, I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate that they're in there and they're scattered, and it helps to keep adults interested and engaged in the movie throughout. As far as Michael Jordan goes, he's not a good actor. We don't really expect him to be. It's fine. He's fine in this movie. He doesn't hurt the movie. But what really sort of saved the movie and made it much more palatable for me, especially as an adult, but even as a kid, was the performances from Wayne Knight and Bill Murray. Wayne Knight playing Stan, Michael Jordan's assistant, he plays that character exactly the way you would want that character to be. He's exactly who we want that character to be in the concept of this universe, and he does it really well. And then Bill Murray is just Bill Murray doing Bill Murray stuff. I mean, he plays himself, but I love me some Bill Murray, and I love the way he committed to this role, the way he kind of just gets into character as being this guy who wants to play basketball and wants to play in the NBA. I found that really entertaining and really funny. So is Space Jam a good movie? Yeah, it's definitely a good movie. How could it not be? It's universally appealable. I mean, it has Looney Tunes. Who doesn't love Looney Tunes? And it has Michael Jordan. Who doesn't love Michael Jordan unless you're playing against him? Not only that, but the movie's better than it has any business being, because it could have been just a lazy effort. Just put the two together, come up with a brittle kind of script and narrative for the two worlds to come together, and then just present it to the general public, and then you make millions of dollars. I mean, that's what they could have done, but Ivan Reitman went above and beyond, and because of that, this movie really feels more polished than it needs to be. Did the movie accomplish what it was trying to do? Yeah, definitely it did that. You know, it brought Michael Jordan together with the Looney Tunes, and it made a good movie. It's palatable to everybody. I mean, it's not really satisfying to hardcore Looney Tunes fans, and it's not really satisfying to hardcore Michael Jordan basketball fans. But in terms of general public, which was probably the biggest purpose of this movie, I mean, it did that. It reached everybody. It appeals to everybody. I mean, the numbers show it's the largest grossing basketball movie ever made, and it probably deserves to be. Should you see Space Jam? Should you experience it? Is it something that you need to have seen? Yeah. In novelty terms, yes. It's the same kind of way where, like, you should see Jaws or you should see Indiana Jones. Even if that's not really your thing, if that's not really what you're into specifically, just being able to say that you've seen it and experienced it when everybody else seemingly has seen it and does enjoy those movies Same thing with Space Jam. You should see this movie, if nothing else, for the novelty of saying that you have seen it, you have experienced it. There's nothing great in this movie other than the way they kind of bring the two worlds together, and the way the animation is above and beyond what it needed to be. I mean, that's a great part of the movie, but in terms of like narrative and script and premise and story, comedy, like none of that's great, but it's all good enough for you to enjoy it if you do see it. You won't have any regrets if you do see this movie. So taking all of that into account, I'm going to give Space Jam a B. It's not great, it's not super satisfying, but it does its job, and it did it better than it needed to do. It presented an entertaining movie with the Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan. It's not really a Looney Tunes movie, it's not even really a basketball movie, it's just a hybrid that's good enough, and it's better than it needed to be. So because of that, I give it a B. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, a thumbs up would be great. If you could subscribe to the channel, that would be great as well. It would really help me out. And hit that notification bell so you're notified of the rest of the movies on this Esquire.com top 20 basketball list. We're in the top 10 now. Space Jam was number 10. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified of the rest of the movies on this list when the videos come out. And I will see you guys then. Oh, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention the soundtrack to this movie. A lot of people who were the right age at the time that this movie came out, the soundtrack is very sort of quintessential to them and sort of their childhood, especially if you're a hip-hop R&B kind of person, especially if you're a basketball kind of person. If you were the right age at the time that this soundtrack came out, it's a very kind of important soundtrack to those people. For me, I love music, I love basketball, I love Michael Jordan, and this soundtrack, I had this soundtrack, it was on cassette, and I thought it was good. It's not great. I think it's not as great as a lot of people sort of make it out to be in their nostalgic kind of mind, but it's still a good soundtrack. I remember there being a handful of songs on there that I was really into and I listened to over and over again. Not the whole album though, but it's worth a listen. You should give it a try, and I think you will enjoy it.
Pass me the rock, now I'm headed to the basket.